Welcome to the Transformation Institute's podcast for change. Here is our host, Omari JAHI Aton.
What's up? What's up? Facebook, YouTube. I'm Omari JAHI, your host for the Transformation Institute podcast. And we're live here Thursday evening right here on YouTube and Facebook. We thank you all for tuning in, everybody that's on and all of those that are about to come on. We really have a really interesting conversation that we're going to be discussing tonight. It's dealing with mandatory DNA testing at birth. The conversation is going to be based on, should we have mandatory testing? Should there be, well, maybe I should say it like that. Should there be mandatory testing? And then if so, why? And if there shouldn't be mandatory testing at birth, then why not? So that's where we're going. So let me just introduce my co-host. Y'all already know him. We got my man Will, me too, Miss Kim, and Miss Brenda. And we got my girl Vanessa. She's on board. She just popped in. So thank you guys for being here. I know y'all okay. So mandatory DNA testing. I tell you, well, I'll always start off. I tell you what I think about it. Good evening, Bam. Bam, always there first, boy. You know. I believe that there should be mandatory DNA testing at birth, and I'm gonna tell you why I think that. Because of the gross dishonesty that a lot of women have shown. Not all. This is not all women, but there are women out here that have been extremely dishonest with men, telling them that their baby is theirs, and then when the child has some kind of illness or something, and the parents have to be tested to see if they can be a bone marrow transplant or something like that, then the daddy find out that's not his kid. That's not good. I don't think that goes on a lot. And even when all she has to do is put his name on the birth certificate, and automatically now, because his name is on the birth certificate, he is obligated to pay child support for that child until it's 18 years old, unless he goes to court and fights it. I really do believe that this, even though I don't think it's going to pass, this DNA testing at birth would solve all of that. Kim has a twist to it. She don't feel that, I'll let Kim say what she thinks, but I told y'all what I think. Come on with it, Kim. Tell us what your thoughts on this is.
Okay, my flip side to this mandatory DNA testing at birth is why at birth? Why not do the mandatory testing before you sleep with this person? Like, do a pregnancy test. Do testing, make sure that she's okay, because again, you're not thinking about that when you're about to entertain this person, right? So now all of a sudden, when she come and tell you she's pregnant, oh, I need a DNA test. Why these issues wasn't brought up before you decide to entertain her? No one's talking about that.
That's
you need to know her body count. Like, okay, are you still entertaining other people before I step in and want to entertain you? Well, that should be mandatory up front. Now, if you're dealing with that type of chick, to expect these type of outcomes.
See, now the challenge, this is just me. The challenge that I see coming out of that with women is that they're going to be saying that if a man asks a woman before he has sex with her for some kind of pregnancy test or whatever, then what you're saying is that woman is a hoe.
No, what I'm saying is I want to know what I'm dealing with.
Well,
Point
I
blank,
mean,
period. And that should go for the same thing for a woman. Yeah, we need to have some type of testing done before we decide to entertain one another. If you're in your mind, in the back of your mind, you got some doubt that hey, she can't be trusted. So
what
ask up front before you entertain. But see, most men, again, most men don't think like that. They just want to jump in and entertain.
But I don't think anybody thinks like that. Well, but I'm gonna shut up. What do you all think? Vanessa, Brenda, Will?
Well, I think that I don't totally agree with Kim, cause if a guy asked me to have a DNA test, I would probably think he was a little weird to ask me to have a DNA test. Uh, I mean, if you guys have talked to each other for a little while and however long it is for that's personal, then I think, I mean, since we're talking about mandatory DNA and it's out there in the atmosphere, then maybe they could talk about if you want to have kids, and if I mean, maybe they can ask them. I think that would be a violation to a woman if they asked if they were pregnant already
Yeah.
before. I think that would kind of make a woman feel a little funny. I mean, that would kind of trip me out if a man says, "Well, are you pregnant now?" Unless we had talked about this mandatory DNA thing, and then we just kind of have a conversation based around it like we are doing now. Other than that, if a guy just asked me that, that would kind of, freak me out. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let me ask you this then. Let me
That's
piggyback
exactly
off
what
your
I'm
statement.
saying.
Just say you tell the dude, okay, I'm pregnant. And he said, well, I need a DNA test. How would you feel about that?
I mean,
Hmm?
that would bother me, especially if this was the only guy I had sex with.
That's that's
I
that's
think
your knowledge,
I think
but he don't know this,
you asked me how I would feel about it, though,
right? But I'm just
right? Not
trying
how
to
he
I'm
would
trying to
feel.
rebuttal what you're saying though.
Wait. Okay, let's do that again. Let's rewind. What are
Okay,
you saying again?
okay, you're saying that you would feel kind of awkward if a guy asked you for this. If he asked you up front, are you pregnant? We're not
Right.
saying you now at your day, at this day and age, but I'm just saying if a guy come to you and say, okay, before we do this, are you pregnant? Are you currently having sex with other people?
Now,
But
if he
if
asked
you
me
said
that, he could ask
That's
me that.
not his business.
again,
But
but
he
you
can.
just said you would feel kind of
If
awkward.
we're dating, we can have that conversation. I don't know if we can have that conversation right up front, time we start talking. But if we're dating, yeah, I think you can ask that. I mean,
Okay, and then you say,
if we're
but
talking
two
and we
weeks
see
later,
we're trying to make something happen.
okay, say
Two
two
weeks
weeks
that
later, you
Kim.
you come and say I'm pregnant, and he said, well, I want a DNA test to make sure it's mine.
Wait a minute. 2 weeks after we start dating.
I'm just after you had sex, okay? I'm trying to keep you PG,
Oh, because
but
I was gonna say, because we ain't having sex 2 weeks after I started dating. So
entertain. We're
okay,
gonna say
I thought you see
entertain
now
when you
now you was calling
after
out
you
the hoes. The hoes.
entertained.
You was
After
calling
you
out the hoes
entertained,
out.
how would you feel
Okay.
about that if he tell you, "Oh, I need a DNA test"? Hmm?
I mean, every lady gonna feel a little funny if somebody asks that, but in this day and age, with all this stuff happening,
That's
if
why I
it,
said you need to.
according to the way he acts, then
Yeah.
it might be okay.
Okay.
But if everything was mandatory at birth, he wouldn't have to ask. We wouldn't have to have no awkward conversation. When you go to the hospital and you have your baby, it's automatically they're gonna test the daddy, and they're gonna test the mama, and then they're gonna say, this is your baby, this ain't your baby. Or they're gonna say, it's both of y'all baby, the DNA matches, everybody's happy. You can move on with your life. Vanessa, come on with yours. What you thinking?
Okay, so for me, I don't think it's the worst case scenario. I don't think it's the greatest, but I definitely don't think it's the worst. Um, because there is a lot going on nowadays with people and DNA and people lying about stuff. So it may cut down some of the worries going down the line, or even just cut down some of the games that people play when it's regarding kids with paternity issues. But I'm gonna flip it. So what if the woman says from the beginning, hey, look, we're about to have this baby. I want you to take a DNA test in the beginning. Let's take this test. Let's set up everything we need to do to set up the paternity as well as financial. How would the guys feel about that? Because we always look at it from like the guys asking for it, but what if the woman is asking for it for her own protections?
I think if a woman asks that, she is kind of saying that I sleep with a couple of people.
I don't know if he's close enough.
She could just,
if a lady says to a man,
she may be doing it for security purposes for her child, because she may feel like he may be a shady person. So we're gonna nip this in the bud. Just like when men ask for it in the beginning, they're doing some stuff to nip some stuff in the bud. So this may be her saying, I want to put all my ducks in a row so we don't have any problems down the line. It's not always about if someone's sleeping with someone. The guy doesn't always say, oh, she may be sleeping with someone.
Yeah,
but
that is what he's saying.
You need that 100% assurance, because no one knows what another person is doing at all. And if I had a son, I'm not going to lie, I would rather him get it in the beginning and not wait going down the line if something comes up, because guys do that. They wait till something comes up or another woman's in the picture and say, you know, I don't think your child looks like you. And because we know women do stuff like this, and all of a sudden a man wants to question if those children are his. Now, dude, you've been a dad in this child's life for 10 years, 20 years. Now you thinking that this is not your child because a woman said something to you. So no, it's about security for men and women. It doesn't have to be somebody sleeping with somebody else. Let's just be grown and everybody be accountable for what they need to be accountable for. Because as a mother, I'm responsible for this child 100%. And as a man, you need to be responsible 100%. I don't get a chance to play games and say, oh, I can't do this and that. I have to be the mom 100% of the time. So let's make sure you know you're the dad 100% of the time. So you don't play those games with me. Oh, well, I don't know for sure. Now we got to play games for 2 or 3 years till you get this test, till we get to court and all that. Nah, let's not do that. Because people play too many games, and that's probably why they want to do it now. We don't see all these TV shows for nothing. Oh, you are not the father, and people falling down on the floor. 9 out of 10, they knew he wasn't the father any damn way.
I disagree, but we're gonna hear from Will. I'm just say this: mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
Yeah, like so what's so offensive about getting a test? So seriously, like what's so offensive about full disclosure? Being honest, you know, and being honest with you, like I agree with some of what Vanessa was talking about, but I don't know what the whole apprehensiveness is about just taking the daggone test. Like, if you know you've been being fair and trustworthy with your partner, there's nothing to fear. So why wouldn't you agree to take the test? It is a security blanket for all people, right? And it's most important, it's a security blanket for their kid. So I don't understand why there's so much of offense that's being shared, because we're asking both parties, not one party, but both parties, just take a DNA test. You take one, I take one. We just want to figure out if it's right or not.
And the only reason why this is coming up is because what? Child support.
Okay.
No, not just child support. It's
I'm gonna
period.
say this.
Like I really want to know is
We're
mine.
living in
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, because I think she got disconnected.
No, I really want to know if mine is mine. Like it's not about child support all the time. It's about just really knowing, having a peace of mind, making sure that I'm ready to step up to the plate and do what's supposed to be done for mine.
Okay, so Brenda had a comment, then I'll come back to your statement.
How you know
I'm
Brenda
going to
had
say
a...
this. When we start,
Go ahead, Brenda.
when you guys had a problem about the courts doing things against doing certain things. I remember we had a conversation, I don't know exactly what, but you had a problem about what the courts do, and it affected men. So now we're going to let the courts or the government tell us that we have to have mandatory DNA testing. When they get through with mandatory DNA testing, when they have something else they make mandatory for us, do we all, I mean, that's a part of this is a problem to me, only because where I come from, there is a time that's supposed to come where we're going to be made to do things. So this can be a start of something for me. That's just personal to me. But even with us being hooking up and dating, hooking up and dating and talking about having sex, and if we get pregnant, having a DNA test, do you guys really think that's going to be across the board, just like Will said? Why not have it? I mean, I understand where you're coming from with that, but do you really think that that's just going to be an easy conversation and men and women are going to say, oh yeah, I agree? If we put a poll out there right now, or later or whatever, how much you want to bet that that's not as simple as saying that, and then we just go with it? How much you want to bet?
I know it's messy.
What we got to hide though? What we got to hide? That's the question.
What you
I know
mean
it's
hide?
messy.
Nobody ain't thinking about hiding anything.
Well,
It's
just take
not
the
about
test.
hiding anything. See, that's you though. But see, look how serious you are about just take that test. When the government starts to be that serious and tell us just do this, just do that. First of all, people are going to have a problem with somebody telling you just do that. You know, y'all know this. Why we acting like this not going to happen? So this mandatory. If y'all didn't know that, we wouldn't even be talking about this right here. This would be so easy, cut, dry. It's done. All of us agree, and we going home.
Okay, look at what happened with COVID when they did the mandatory test. You know how many people was in an uproar over that? Well, they can't make me take no test. They can't make me take no test. So it's basically the same thing, like Brenda said. When it
I
becomes
can't hear you.
mandatory, you would get so much flack from that because they're telling you you got to do this. They're not going to do it. Just
But
like
wait a minute.
with the whole COVID.
But it's okay for them to make laws and tell men they have to pay child support. They have to.
That's common
No,
sense.
wait a minute.
No, that's
Any
what you
parent,
are
No,
any
God,
parent,
it's common
any
sense to take a
parent
test too.
seeking, any parent seeking custodial custody has to pay. The other parent has to pay child support. Any
No.
parent, be a woman or a man, any parent seeking custodial custody, meaning sole custody of that child, the other parent has to pay child support.
Yes, but it's a law. It was a law that's put into place, and women agree with it because the beneficiaries of this law, of that law, is women. But now, when the beneficiary,
now the man can sue for joint custody. But like we had in the other conversation, most men don't want to deal with the courts. So yes, the women will win. But most men stand up and fight for joint custody.
We're not even
talking they won't
about
be in this. They're both parties we paying child support.
Kim, we're not talking about custody. The
You just mentioned that. You just mentioned that.
As an
We're
example,
just trying to figure out who baby it is, who baby it is, who created that baby. That's all we're trying to figure out.
The two people
Not
that
custody
slept
or none of
together.
that.
You slept with that person. So
Don't mean that I created.
Don't
mean that I created. Don't mean that I created that baby. It does not mean that I created it.
So you feel that this individual is sleeping with multiple people, then why are you still entertaining that? If you have doubt, in your mind about the individual you're entertaining,
I cannot believe you.
Why you still with that person?
So let's flip the question. Have we all on this podcast today been deceived once in our lifetime?
A whole lot of
deceived
time.
by a partner, deceived once in our lifetime.
No.
Yeah, you have.
So everybody have perfect relationships then. Okay.
My lifeline is very short, so I can say no, I have not.
Okay. And you know I know your life, girl. So try again.
I know it.
Try again. Try again.
And I can say no. I can say no.
You lying though.
I'm not. I'm not.
All right. You
Y'all
know
I
I
don't know
know.
about it.
Podcast,
I
you
don't
hear
know
us?
about it.
Do y'all hear us? Oh my God.
I don't know about it.
I'm just saying,
that.
no, all I'm saying is the beneficiary of this law, if it does pass, I don't even think it's gonna pass. Simply because the beneficiary of it would be men. Men would reap the benefit of being able to not be fooled and lied to by devious women trying to come up on the system and trying to come up. If this guy got a nice job, he's making nice money, she can lie and say, hey, this your baby. So now she got she got somebody to take care of her and that baby, but come to find out, he ain't the daddy. You see what I'm saying? This law would erase that. That would take that opportunity from these women away. And you guys seem to say, we like that opportunity. We want to keep that opportunity to be able to trick you niggas.
Wow. Did you just say that? Did you
We
just
didn't say
tell
that.
us that's what we're saying?
Nobody agreed to that.
Wow. I
But-
gotta love this
But
podcast.
when you go to child support court,
Doctor,
don't they
gotta
require
love this
DNA test?
podcast, yeah?
When you go to child support court, don't they require DNA tests?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
no, they
Yes.
don't.
I went to child support court. They required a DNA test.
That's what I thought.
I don't know. Maybe nobody else did. Maybe they didn't do that for anybody else. I'm right here. I went and they did. So I don't know. Maybe they don't do it for everybody.
So let me ask you
because
this.
I think it's usually if a guy contests the DNA.
Right.
If they contest,
I think they take DNA tests.
If they protest the paternity, then they do the DNA test in order to say, oh, well, you can't protest this. The DNA said that you the daddy. This is the same thing as the mandatory DNA testing. It's the same thing. The only thing is men are asking for it in contrary to women asking for it. If a woman asks for it, say what now?
We need somebody who deals with this because we're not experts on this subject.
Okay, so
we need experts now for a test.
What'd you say, Vanessa?
The guys never answered my question. The ladies answered me. I wanted to hear from the guys. If I'm a woman having a baby and I tell you I want you to take a paternity test and get all the ducks in a row, are you going to be willing to do it? And are you going to look the same way and treat it the same way you would as if you're approaching me about it?
Absolutely. It's fair. Fair across the board. Absolutely.
You're lying.
No,
I'm not lying about that. No, I'm not lying about that. I'm serious about that.
But what I don't believe that a woman would ever say that, Vanessa. I don't believe a woman would ever say, let's get a paternity test. Again, unless, like Brenda said, you having multiple partners and you want to make sure that this is the guy that's the baby of your father.
No, I think he's so stuck on money and what it's gonna do or status and stuff dealing with the fathers. I think a woman would do that if once she interacted with that man and he found out she was pregnant and he starts playing the games, then you nip that in the bud in the beginning. Like, okay, we're not going to have these problems. So why don't we just take care of this? As soon as the baby is born, I'll need you to go on this swab and we're going to take care of everything. We're going to take care of this. We're going to take care of the financial aspect. We just going to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. And you don't have to worry about if it's your baby.
And that makes sense. It makes sense if we're not fully together in a committed relationship. That makes total sense, Vanessa. Right? And even if we are together in a committed relationship, it makes sense. But even more, if I've moved on and you pulling me back in, telling me that this baby is mine, I would love Vanessa's, option, right? Yeah. Because I just want to know for sure if mine is mine.
I think for some women, they would love for you to say yes, because that means that you're not going to pull all this mess once the baby gets here, right. And we're not going to be fighting back and forth, right. Going back and forth all the time about this, or every time you get mad, you don't want to help with the baby and this and that.
That's not all men though. That's not all men.
I was just about to say that.
That's a stereotype. That's not all men.
There's some
Well,
niggas
it's
out
a
here.
stereotype when you say, well, I don't know if I'm the dad. That's a stereotype too.
No, that's a
Because
fact.
every
That's
man
a
is not
fact.
out here saying you're the dad and you really aren't. So, I mean, it is what it is.
But there are some
Do you
Negroes.
see Yolanda's? Do you guys see Yolanda's question?
I don't. I can see it, but I can't read it.
It says, do you think about impact of both partners? I can see the men killing women over this in the beginning too.
Oh, I could see that, Yolanda. But guess what? Those are the men that was gonna kill a woman anyway. So
Yes.
you either gonna die when he find out about it in the beginning, or you gonna die in the end when he find out about it. So, because every man is not going to look at a woman and say, "Oh, I'm gonna kill this woman," and blah blah blah. That's about a person's character. And if you got a fool, you know he a fool. And that's the only reason you wouldn't want to take that test, because you know it's a possibility. So that might be a whole different situation right there.
But to nip all of this in the bud, why these conversations can be had before you entertain one another? Are
They
you
definitely
entertaining other
should be
people?
had. They
Both
definitely
parties should ask,
should.
are you entertaining other people? Point blank, period. So that way, if something does jump off, you won't have these questions.
Well,
Yeah, but you know what, Q? In the perfect world, that would be great. But we know
in the
men
perfect
lie,
world,
women
like you
lie.
said. Yep.
yes, I
It
agree.
was straight within the relationships. I get it.
Yeah, but I mean, but again, you see, we're looking at when a person, like if a woman lies about something like this, this is a very important kind of thing for a woman to say that this man is the father of her baby and she knows he's not, or maybe I ain't even gonna say she knows. Maybe she thinks he is.
Right? She don't know.
Maybe she don't know, but she thinks he is. But
Okay.
she's had multiple partners. She's still going back to the old boyfriend, letting him hit it. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
On the side and this and that and another. And now she's pregnant and she don't want to let the present boyfriend know that she's been going back to the old boyfriend. So she'll say, this your baby, and this and that and another.
But in her mind, it is, because in her mind, it is his baby.
No, in her mind, she wants it to be his.
Right.
She don't know.
She don't know, and she don't want to know. She don't want to know. You see what I'm saying? Because if she finds out and it tells her it's the old boyfriend, he don't want nothing from her. He don't want her. He just hitting it because it's fun for him to hit it on the side while she's seeing somebody else. But the thing is,
ain't no possibility there either. Like
if she lies, if she lies about this, and she's discovered that she lied, nothing's gonna happen to her. She can lie, get away, she can ruin that man's life for 18 damn years, and there's not a law in the book that's gonna make anything happen to her. So what's gonna stop a woman from doing that? There's nothing stopping her from lying to me.
Well, he could possibly take her to court and get his money back.
Yes. But
now it may take a while, but here's the thing: most guys don't want any parts of the court system.
Yeah,
because we don't win. Everything is geared towards protecting women. There's nothing there to protect men. I said in the beginning, it makes no sense for us to go fight in court because we don't have a win there. If we had the test would answer all our questions.
I bet if you paid child support for 15 years and find out she's not yours, you would take your butt to court.
I think if I was able to take the test at birth, I would be even more safer than waiting 15 years to go to court. Right? I would know from day one.
We don't know. Matter of fact, I Googled it. I Googled this, and I want to share this with you guys. You all tell me what y'all think about it. Where is it? Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Here it is. All right. Y'all see that?
No.
You don't see nothing?
I see it now. See something.
Oh, okay.
Can't read it.
Well, if you're on your phone, you might not be able to see it. You might be able to. I'm gonna read it for you though. This I asked the question: is it a criminal offense for a woman to fraudulently lie about paternity? And this is what it kicked out. It says, is it a criminal offense? It says it varies by state. Whether paternity fraud is a criminal offense depends on the specific laws of each state. Excuse me. Some states have enacted criminal statuses to deal with paternity fraud. Nevada is one of those states that paternity fraud is classified as a gross misdemeanor. Penalties would include up to 364 days in jail and a $2,000 fine, up to $2,000 fine. Okay, so now based on what I just Googled and what came up, there aren't any laws. Well, it's just based on the state. I guess that's what it was saying. And Nevada is the only state. Well, it ain't the only. It's probably other states. But I don't believe Illinois is one of those states that have any penalties that can and will be applied to a woman that's caught lying about paternity. And that puts a man in a very weird situation, because if I'm not the father of a child and I'm taking care of this child for all these years and something happens and I discover that I'm not the father, and the only thing that can be said is, oops, my bad, or I don't know what happened. I didn't mess around with nobody. It was just you, and that's got to be the believing statement, So we can erase all of that. He say, she say stuff. All of that could be eliminated at childbirth, mandatory testing. Now, what happened if that was really went into law, what would happen is a lot of women wouldn't be able to lie. They wouldn't be able to lie if they got their boyfriend and they was hitting their other boyfriend on the side and come to find out that the baby is the other boyfriend. They ain't gonna be able to lie now. The boyfriend gonna find out that this woman was doing some stuff on the side.
Are there any repercussions right now for a man that's found to be the father after he wanted a paternity test?
Oh, heck yeah. Y'all know that.
No, it's not. Come on,
he
y'all.
gets taken child support. His checks get garnished here. You know how it works. The whole child.
Wait, I do know how it works. I don't care, but I don't care about putting my stuff out there because I went to court. And when the dad wanted the paternity test and it came back that he was the dad, there was no repercussions. No. And the kid was older. He didn't have to pay anything from back then. There was nothing. There was nothing. He just was told at that time. And he had an attorney, and she was a Black lady. And she said in the courtroom, she said, I hate to say this, but the cliche, because you used it earlier. And I'm saying she said this. She said, I'm telling you, Ty, that you used it earlier. You said, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Right, the Black attorney, I was floored. I mean, I knew she had listened to him because she was his attorney when we got to court. She was a young looking Black lady, dressed nicely, stood up there, and she said that mama's baby, daddy's maybe. And he was found to be the father. He was the father of two of my children. And no, he did not pay anything from back. He did not. All he did was from that day on, he had to supposed to pay child support, and he quit his job. Oh, he came back into their lives later on. He apologized later on. But at that time, we were young and he did that. And there was no repercussions, nothing. So, on this issue of should it be mandatory, this is a matter of personal opinion. I mean, if all of you guys say that this should be mandatory and you feel that, you feel that. But if one or two of us don't, it should be okay. All of us, there is no perfect world. There's never going to be. Everybody is going to agree with everything. And like I said, my thing mainly would be, because that could be good, that at up front, so nobody could lie. But I got a problem when the government, like you guys got a problem with them making people pay child support or making them pay back or getting them in and all that. I got a problem with them telling us that we got to do this. You can't. Anytime somebody tell you what you got to do, come on, we already walking into some stuff. We opening the door for a whole lot of stuff. We already been broke down, beat down. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I want to challenge that what you just said at the end.
Why challenge it?
God tells us to do stuff via the Bible. Do we feel a certain type of way about that? The Bible gives a set of instructions.
Man telling me what to do.
No. Here I'm just saying, rules are rules, laws are laws.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. I just feel like this.
No, man, because man and God, two different. No, Will. We already talked about. I don't even know why you brought this to me. We know that there's some things man gonna tell me to do, I'm not gonna do, and God says it. If I have to get stoned,
God said, obey the laws of the land. That's what God said. Obey the laws of the land.
Wait, but this ain't no law.
I get what you're saying, Brenda. Because I am one of those people that push against mandatory stuff sometimes. If I feel like it's violating me.
Thank you. That's true. Now that's the truth.
Now here's something else. Well, what if instead of being mandatory, if you're going to be a man that signs this birth certificate, when you sign that birth certificate, we're going to require DNA to make sure that you don't have to go back and change this legal document later because you aren't the father. Would that be an exception to things?
That's an option. Yes, that's an option.
At that point, it's him saying, okay, I believe that, I'm the father. Or it could be a married couple. Hey, we don't have infidelity between us. I know that this is my husband's child. The husband is saying, I know that my wife was faithful and this is my child.
And they don't want to sign
this. Then, that could be some situation where it's like, okay, we don't require it. But there are some married couples who have infidelity issues where signing that just because we're married and I sign the birth certificate, it's going to be a problem down the line once I find out the truth. So, it's reasons why they want to do this, trying to cut a lot of stuff and make it a little better. But I get what you're saying. It is stepping on people's toes and it's going against some of our rights. But at the end of the day, who's going to pay for anything that he or she does? The child.
Right.
Exactly. And see, and to me, it just makes perfect sense. It just makes sense. It takes the bull crap out of it. It takes all that away.
So what you do, you find out the child isn't yours, then what? You're going to walk away?
Well, it all depends on my relationship with that woman. See.
Why? It should depend on your relationship with the child, not the woman.
No. You said if it's not my child.
Right. Are you going to walk away from the child?
Again, it depends on my
if they know in the beginning or once they've gotten a relationship with the child.
Well, when it says mandatory, just say at the time of the whatever he's saying that it's mandatory at birth.
Yes.
And trying to find out what you're gonna do. You're gonna walk away?
It's easier to walk away from something, a baby that's just getting here. You haven't bonded with that baby at any point. So
but you was there doing the process the whole 9 months, and
men don't go through that stuff like we do. It's a handful
they're experiencing with her. You know what I'm saying?
Joshua said
they there
deuces.
experience fit. You know, they there watching their stomach grow, the baby girl, going to the doctor's appointments. You gonna walk away from that? All of that?
Yep.
Some men stick around and some don't. But some men stick around for their actual children and some don't. So it's going to be about that person and what their character is.
Each situation is different, Kim. If that woman is my wife, now look at this. If that woman is my wife, and
that baby's not yours, then what?
Then what? Then me and my wife got a conversation that has to be had.
Still, the baby is here and it's not yours.
I understand that, and that baby got a daddy.
So again, are you gonna walk away from that baby?
It ain't mine to walk away from.
But again, that's your wife.
No, that's her baby.
But that's your wife. Like you said, me and my wife.
But no. You act like what goes for one goes for the other. If I break my ankle, are you gonna feel the pain?
Again,
no. That's
then
my
you're gonna do.
No,
if you find out that baby is not yours and you're married.
That is not my baby. That belongs to
So are you walking away? That's the question. What are you gonna do?
No, the question we should be asking is the woman gonna find the right father for that baby? Is she gonna find the real daddy?
If she find the father, again, what are you gonna do?
I'm probably gonna get rid of her and let her be with the daddy, because that means she's walking around on me. I told you how I am when I find out somebody messing around with me on me. You done.
Right. That's going to be based on the two people involved, because some people are going to stick it out and try to make it work. And some people going to say, I don't do infidelity, deuces.
So again,
infidelity with a baby is totally
a baby is
different.
Here. Regardless of what, a baby is here now. You know
but
what I'm
it's
saying?
not mine. But
so
it's not mine.
Again, you're gonna take your anger out on that individual, on that innocent child?
Nope.
Well, if you walk away from it, it's not taking it out, because you're removing yourself from the situation. Right. That's a hard thing to do, because when you love someone, sometimes you're willing to put up with some stuff, and sometimes you have your boundaries. This is going to be non-negotiable for some people. Some people, oh, you pregnant? This might not be my baby. I'm your husband. They're going to be out. And some wives, if your husband bring a child in that house saying,
from another woman,
I suffered an act of infidelity since we've been married, and this child is here now. Are you going to stay with me and love the baby? Sometimes we look at men like they crazy too. So, I mean, that's one of them things. It's going to be based on you and how you feel about your marriage.
Yes.
And sometimes women take the kid into their home and they love it like it's theirs.
Right. Yeah. More so than not.
Yeah.
But that's what women do. Women are nurturers. But a lot of women ain't going to do it because they be like, I ain't no fool.
So again, this test takes the lie out of the equation. See, and as we both been going through all these scenarios, in the common denominator in these scenarios is a woman lying to a man about whether this baby is his or not.
I stand on my statement. She believes it's his.
Say again?
I said, I stand on that statement. In her mind, that is his baby. She don't know. She don't know who it was. Come on now.
So she should say, I don't know, instead of saying it's yours.
Right.
She's pregnant. I'm pregnant.
And I don't know.
By who though? By who though? That's the question.
Daddy is.
But again, you're not asking by who, because again, it never came up. You ain't thinking she out there in the streets.
No, I think everybody has a possibility of being out there. Anybody can be out there. So I'm not gonna put nobody on no pedestal. There's nobody's supposed to be on a pedestal, because everybody is vulnerable to the flesh.
A pedestal or trust. Or you don't marry with trust in mind. Or people are just getting married doing things. Not a pedestal, but I don't trust my wife. I'm gonna marry her. I love her, but I don't trust her. So
no,
she better do
I wouldn't say that. It's like, I know you, but I don't know you. Scenario.
Will.
I know you, but I don't know you. I know you, but I don't know you. You can be married to somebody for 30 years and still don't know them.
Absolutely. I trust you to be yourself. That's what I trust. That's how far I trust you.
To be honest, But that ain't always the case, though, Kim. You know that.
I know that.
So what?
But like I said, she don't know who the dad is. All she knows she's pregnant. And in her mind, you're the dad. Because again,
no,
we're
how
in a
you gonna say
relationship.
that? Come on, Kim. How you gonna say
in her mind, it is that. She is
How
thinking
is
that.
She don't know. You just say she don't know.
Right, but in her mind, she's saying, okay, we're in a relationship, so yes, he is the dad. I just have one scenario.
Those two don't go together, Kim. I don't know, and you are. They don't go together. Either you don't know or you do know.
You don't know. You don't.
So you can't say it's him if you
But
don't
in
know.
your mind, you can't say it's him.
Put that in your mind. That's
delusional thoughts don't count.
In your mind, you can say anything.
Wait, you know what?
Anything.
We used to have, we had a friend that always said, in my mind, and we would always laugh because in your mind,
truth. And she's
don't
standing on her
always do the
truth.
best thing. So
that's her truth, and she's standing on her truth.
Right. No, she's standing on her deception.
Her delusion.
She's standing on the deception.
You can't call it deception or delusion because you don't understand it, but she understands it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, she understands that she's trying to come up, and she don't want to be exposed.
Who's to say she coming up? Who's to say he the best thing coming? He might be broke down just as raggedy as anything. Who says she coming up?
She ain't asked that in the beginning though. So he might not be the best thing, but she slept with him. She didn't ask some questions in the beginning, like you just said.
Just like the dude ain't ask no questions either.
I was just going to say that goes right back to what Kim, that goes right back to what Kim said at the beginning. Will just went right back into that.
Thank you.
She said that, and y'all knocked her out the box for it, and then you went right back.
I'm just saying. She said the brother was nothing. He was a dusty.
Come on, man.
And so what I'm saying is, she didn't know he was a dusty when she was laying down with him.
And you didn't know she was trifling when you lay down with her. Come on now.
But I just said I trust none. I told you I trust none.
You knew she was for the streets when you met her. You knew she was for the streets.
I don't trust none. I agree with you. You don't know if she's for the streets, right? Because
know.
everybody got a facade. Everybody got a facade they put on in the beginning of a situation, right? You don't really find a real person out.
Instead of you doing your homework, you blinded by the facade.
No,
you got caught up
and you're right, and you're absolutely right about that. You are absolutely 100% right about that. Because
do your research before you decide to entertain someone.
You're right. You're right.
But look. Whether you do your research, whether you get a blood test, whatever kind of test, back in the day they had a earwax test. Old men used to tell us young brothers about the earwax test.
I remember that.
You remember that? Well, y'all ain't supposed to know nothing about that. That's a
y'all ain't supposed to know. Y'all ain't supposed to know nothing about that.
Y'all don't know nothing about that.
But it worked though. It definitely worked.
Yes, sir. It do work. I know it do. But my point is, whatever, it don't matter what kind of test you're using. This mandatory DNA test at birth will take all of the what I call the arguments away. Ain't no speculating now. Only thing you can say after this test is what you gonna do. Like you said, Kim, it ain't yours, so what you gonna do now? I know you, Peaches, you don't know nothing about the earwax. Ask your husband, Peaches. Ask your husband about it.
Y'all know I was over here looking it up, right? Y'all
Vanessa. Go look it up, Vanessa.
No, I learned about it at 14 years old. I was told about 14. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a myth. It's a myth.
Thank you.
No, it's not a myth. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. I used it in college. I know it ain't a myth.
No, that means you were lucky in college.
No, you see, you don't even know what it is. How you gonna say he was lucky?
I told you I just looked it up. I Googled it. I Google every damn thing.
But what did it say?
I'm too nosy not to Google.
It said it's a myth. It's a myth.
Trying to detect STDs.
And so you saying it don't work.
They're saying this is a myth.
Oh, Google saying it's a myth? I'm sorry. Okay, now let me ask you this. Here's a black man, two black men on this show that's telling you about something that we were told by older men when we were
You
young.
really didn't tell us. You
Wait,
just
wait,
put it out there.
let me finish. Y'all like talking over people. I noticed that about you.
No, you need to get to the point. Let's go.
Oh, see, now I got to get to the point quick, but you can talk as long as you want to.
Get to the point.
No.
Get to the point. Let's go.
You gonna tell me that two men on here telling you the same thing that
Y'all
they were
didn't say
told by
what it
men?
was. You didn't say what it was.
I will mute your ass, Kim. Stop.
I'll mute myself.
See, you got to get ignorant sometimes. That don't make no damn sense. I'm just trying to say that if you got two men on here that's telling you that older men back in the day told them something about how to detect STDs when you're having sex with women and that it works, and you Google it and it says it's a myth, you gonna believe Google over two men that's right here telling you that it works.
Just because you tell me don't make it right. Let me tell you, you said the old black men told you. And it's just like when they say, oh, your hand itching, you about to get some money. You don't always get the money, but sometimes you do. And grandma said this, so it's right because grandma said it. It's because that's what we grew up in.
No, it's because I used it. And when I used it, she jumped.
Guess what? Granddaddy told you if you pull out, you wouldn't have nobody pregnant and be talking about mandatory testing.
Nah, that ain't even what we talking about. See, y'all like
same thing? No, because the old people told you to pull out and it works. And it worked for so many people. So it worked for you. I said you all were lucky.
All right. So now that we are lucky, since we are lucky, that we used a test that some old men told us about.
That wise men too.
And that worked, and it did exactly what they said it would do if the woman had an STD. We got lucky, so that test worked for us, and we didn't get no STD because we didn't have sex with that woman because that test told us not to do it. So now I guess what we are saying now here again is that this test again will take all of this argument, all this. See, I don't understand why women just won't say, yeah, I agree with the mandatory testing. What you got to lose other than your lie? You ain't got nothing to lose.
Well, I told you I kind of understand it and agree with it to some extent. And for me, it wasn't about somebody lying. It was about making sure we take care of our business with the child. It ain't had nothing to do with him lying or her lying. It was about doing what's right and making sure everybody does what's right.
But if you don't determine whether the woman is telling the truth or not about the paternity of that child, if she's not telling the truth, then you cannot get into whether the child is going to be protected or not. Because there's two people that's involved in taking care of that baby, not one, two. And they got to be the right people. So why don't?
So why? I told y'all our last conversation about men not going to court. If you feel like this woman is saying you're the child's father and you aren't, then you force her into a paternity test.
She's not obligated to take one. I can't make her take a paternity.
No,
only way I can make her take a test.
I want to pay child support. I want her to take a test. You can make stuff happen if you want to.
The courts would have to make her do it. We'll have to go through the courts.
That's what I'm saying. So sometimes stand on your stuff. If this is what you believe, take it to the courts.
I wouldn't have to if it was mandatory. Would I? See, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It wouldn't even have to go that far. Soon as she had a baby, they're going to say, hey, they probably go to her first. Hey, you might want to have a talk with your boyfriend or your husband because you know this ain't his baby. Do you want me to tell him or do you want to tell him? You see what I'm saying? And then ain't no discussion. She can't go now 10 years after the fact, and because he might be a no good dude or whatever, and he might not want to take care of her. He might not want to give no child support. He might not even want to be with her no more. He might told her to get an abortion. She wouldn't get an abortion. You see what I'm saying? He don't even want the baby. But then the thing is that because he's that kind of dude, I call him niggas. I'm sorry, my wife don't like me using that terminology, but a nigga is a nigga. A black person is a black person. We're going to have a conversation about the difference between niggas and black people, because there's a big difference. And when I say nigga, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's what you're talking about, Vanessa, a nigga. A nigga don't want to take responsibility for his what he does in life. That's a nigga. Okay, Brenda, what you got to say?
I ain't got it. I said what I said, and I feel like I was supposed to go with the crowd, so I'm out because I feel like I said something, and this was kind of stupid because it's obvious that we should just say that this mandatory DNA testing is good for everybody. So hey, I went against the odds. I ain't mad at you. I'm just out.
So that means you against it, right?
I said I was. I said it from the gate. And
Okay.
That's when I got, ostracized because I'm out of there. Because, anybody with common sense should just know that this makes sense.
But Brenda, but why are you so adamantly against it though, Brenda? Seriously though. Like what's the harm when...
But why can't I be against it? Tell me why not.
No.
You can.
You can, yeah.
No, what Brenda said,
it was kind of stupid, to be against it because it just makes sense to y'all. But this is new. It ain't never been here before. Ain't none of y'all never thought of it before and put it out there and made it. No black man brought it to the courts and made it a thing. Nobody rallied for it or anything before. But now that it's out here, now everybody should go for it. So the whole world should just go for it. I mean, it shouldn't be no question. That's your opinion. That's not mine. But we should. Can we still love each other with my opinion not being that? Can I not be ostracized because of it? Because when they come back and tell us that it's going to be mandatory, that black women should only have one damn baby and they should not have no more. And then if they get pregnant again, we're going to mandatorily give them an abortion because they shouldn't have but one baby. Then what we're going to do? So that should make sense because all the black girls are having babies anyway. So when does it stop? Because we're talking about it. There's going to be a time, because if you believe in God, Will, what you talked about, there's going to be a time in Revelation that talks about the mark of the beast, where we're going to have to be mandatory, take it. And if we don't, then we're going to have to die, or we ain't going to eat food, or we're not going to get that something done. So we should just take these mandatory things. We should just take them. We should just say yes. Why the hell we saying no? That's stupid to me. We should just take it. Because I'm not going to eat if I don't take the mark of the beast. I'm not going to be able to travel if I don't take the mark of the beast. So I should say, give me that mark, because I want to eat and I want to travel. That's my final thought. That's my final thought. That's my final thought.
That was a perfect final thought. Thank you. Go ahead, Vanessa.
I kind of, like I said, I'm skating on both sides. I understand 100% what you're talking about, Brenda, because it is about our civil liberties. And that's why I said then maybe it should be the man and woman agreeing on something and making it happen at that moment, or when it's time to sign something. But by no means is anyone out to ostracize you, because we all have our opinions on things. And okay. I can't, like I said, I'm one of those people, when I don't agree with something, I'm just not going to do it. Even if I go around doing it and acting like it might happen and I know it's not. COVID, when they were talking about mandatory stuff, did I take the shot? No. Will I ever take the shot? No. And I was adamant about that, and I stood on what I believed in. And everything I felt like was going to come back to bite us in the ass came back to bite us because they didn't know enough about stuff, and we always guinea pigs for them. So no, but I get it, because a lot of people ran out of fear and did it, just like a lot of people would probably do this out of fear. But at the end of the day, you gonna stand on whatever you feel. So
Well,
that's my final thought too.
Okay. Kim, Will, y'all got final thoughts?
Yeah. I just want to end like this here. I know I showed a lot of aggression about this because it's really a real serious situation. But most importantly, it's a very serious situation for the child. And that's, I think we all missing out on that piece. The child deserves to live a life that's truthful to him or her and know who is supposed to be really responsible for him or her. And I think if we keep the child in focus, like what Vanessa said about it, there should be a up for a contract that we come up with if we're gonna do this, right? So she don't feel violated by having to take a test, and I take care of my responsibility on the front end, making sure that she's secure with me being the father, if that's the case. So we got to keep the child, keep the main thing, and that's the child.
Yep.
Okay. Kim?
Again, my statement from earlier: have these discussions before you entertain one another. Then you will not. Then you won't have no upsets. And then, like Will said, have it stipulated somewhere to whereas if one stray and end up pregnant, it's like, okay, if you feel that that person was strayed away or they messing around, hey, when this baby is born, I want a DNA test because I feel something ain't right between us. Stay it up front. And she say, okay. And if she say no, that's not right, then you know something ain't right. Then you have to make a decision. You're gonna stick around or you're gonna walk.
All right. And I guess my closing thought is, and let me just really be clear about this. I could care less about this law. And let me explain to you why. When my son, when my wife got pregnant, she wasn't my wife.
Don't tell my business.
That's my business.
No, shit.
That's my business.
Shit.
But anyway, like I was saying, and as a man, I didn't ask for no DNA test or none of that. You know, in all actuality, my family has a way of determining whether our children are our children. My father showed me. See, this is that old down south stuff that a lot of us Northerners don't believe in, but it works. You know, and my father came to the hospital and he looked at my son and he didn't look at his face. He said, our family has a certain kind of big toe. And he came to the hospital to look at my son's big toe. And when he looked at his foot, his toe, he said, "This yours, boy. You good to go." And that was good enough for me. I ain't need no DNA test. You see what I'm saying? And I married my girlfriend and made her my wife before my son was born. You see? So what am I saying? I'm saying that when you do things right, and when you do things the way that, how do you say it, in decency and in order, then you don't have to worry about going through the courts, like you saying, Brenda. We don't have to worry about no mandates. I ain't got to worry about none of that stuff. The mandate is be responsible as a man for the things that you bring into this world as a man. And that's what every man is responsible for, being that. And in my closing thought, I'm saying I could care less whether they pass that law or not. You know why? Because it doesn't affect me one way or the other because I took care of mine. You see what I'm saying? So let's start doing things the right way. And then we ain't got to worry about the court system. We ain't got to worry about none of that crap. If you get a woman pregnant, you have to, that's automatic marriage. That's marriage. If you don't believe in that, that's why we having the problems we having now. Because niggas, excuse me, but I ain't gonna take it back because I'm talking about a nigga. A nigga he'll stay with you with a baby and everything and live with you, but he ain't gonna do the things that is responsible as a man to raise that child. He's still in the streets doing crap. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox. I'm just saying, if you do things the right way, according to God, as we said earlier too, based on what God says, and believe me, a lot of this came from my father. My father taught me to be this kind of man. Never let another man raise your children. That's something he told me when I was young, real young, and I never let that leave my personality, my character. I didn't have no children when he told me that, but I knew and we all of us are mistakes. We probably are. I don't know. I can't speak for y'all, but I know I was a mistake, and my son was a mistake. We didn't plan him, but when he came here, I had to man up. And that's what all men are supposed to do. And the fact that we allowed them not to, that's why there used to be shotgun weddings. You got my daughter pregnant, here I come with my shotgun. You're gonna do what you're supposed to do to make my daughter an honest woman. So that's all I got to say. I'm done. Oh man. We got a lot of everybody laughing at me. Peaches, she laughing at me.
You gonna get your head split tonight.
I'm gonna get my head split.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Come on.
Doc.
Todd, based on what you just talked about, though, marrying somebody that you got pregnant, we might be cracking the door open to another conversation about polygamy. So
Gosh.
just think about
Yeah.
that.
Nah, please don't.
I'm
Don't want to
just
go down
saying.
that rabbit hole. Woo.
Come on, we know the reality of this life, man. Ain't none of us planning for no kids. These kids come up on us and we be surprised as hell, and we just do the best we can. But it's these niggas that ain't standing up like men, being what a man is supposed to be. They'd rather be a nigga. And I know my wife. She gonna give me hell about that. She hates the fact
So go
that
ahead.
I use.
Go ahead and end this call so you can go ahead and get your head split.
Well, Kim, you just want me to say something, don't you?
No,
I know you know what goes on over here. I know you know. You're just trying to make me say something.
I don't want you to say nothing
we can
else.
have a problem over here. You want to be a
don't
problem
want you to
over
say
here.
nothing else.
That's okay. Yeah.
Everybody put y'all on D&D.
I got you, Kim. I got you. Hey, thank you all for showing up. I thank you all for your comments. We're going to be here next Thursday. We got a lot of subject matter that we can be discussing. I know I think we're going to do one of Wheel's next. I think, what was it? Something about, wait a minute, I'm going to look it up. Because Will had given us a suggestion.
Brenda gave a good one too. It was about
I did one of Brenda's already.
Okay.
I want to do Wheel's. Will can do one. Wait a minute. Where is it at? Oh, here we go. I think it was something about what was it? Well, y'all give me a break. We're gonna end in a minute, y'all. Just give me a minute. This is our show. We can go as long as we want to. Wait a minute. Where is? Oh, here we go. He had a couple of them. One was faith and activism, right? And then there was another one that I really wanted to get into. Oh, here it is. Personal and inner transformation. And it's another one, man. He had a couple of them. Rebuilding trust.
I like that one.
Y'all, I like that one too. Let's talk about that one next week.
Yeah, because trust is broken. I like that one.
Yep, rebuilding trust. So
Okay.
we'll be on that next week. until we see you guys again, I thank y'all for coming out and
Bye.
and being with us. All of our people that made comments. We had Joshua, Peaches, Isha. Ooh, Joshua made a bunch of them. Bam. Sid was on here. Who else was on here? Oh, Elaine. I seen Elaine. Hercules' brother went to high school. Well, he was in my high school. I think I was a couple of years ahead of him. The bearded one was on here. And that's about it. Thank you guys for being on. We'll see you next week. Until then, continue to think for a change. Until
Peace
next
out.
week.